All right, what is going on, Discord family, and welcome back to another edition of Market Review with me, t.hobbs. Today is January the 7th, 2025, year of our Lord, and we will be reviewing the pre-market plan for the Dow Jones. I'll go over some price action for the S&P and the NASDAQ, but essentially everybody did the same thing, and because I don't write plans for the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ, I like to focus on the one that I actually made a plan for and then just kind of briefly overview the other two. All right, so let's jump right into the Dow Jones plan on the day. If we go over here to our 4 hour, we bring out the pre-market plan. I'll kind of give you guys an idea of what I did. There we go. Okay, so pre-market plan on the day. I was looking basically, if we zoom all the way out, number one, and we look all the way out to the daily chart, right? My thought process was, this was an aggressive sell candle, right? A gravestone doji, if you will, at the top of a daily trend. That doesn't necessarily mean it's over, but gravestone dojis inside of downtrends are something that we have to pay attention to, right? In other words, I was looking for the market to tap back into roughly 50% of this wick. That's exactly what we got. 43,212 was the high of the day. Inside of this news candle, we found sellers and the market continued to sell down, searching for these lows right here, obviously, right? But ultimately targeting, in my opinion, we're going to be targeting 42,276 by the end of the week, right? That's kind of how I'm looking at it. So overall, my bias is bearish. Doesn't mean I won't entertain longs. It just means that my bias is bearish. So what did I do? To start the morning, I was actually, last night I was short down to the low of the PM session. Took profit there, and then this morning I got long off the New York opening candle at 43,030, right? I rode profit into, I took profit for 100 handles at 130, right? And then, or 75 handles at like, I think it was like 98 or something like that. And then I got stopped out at the daily fib at 43,146. The only thing I regret about the trade is that my target, my first initial target was 43,213. The high of the day was 212. So if I would have just stuck to that profit taking, I could have been really trailing my stop really tight right there and got out right at TP, right? No real regrets on the market, right? But what I will say is that the market was very kind in regards to how it would deliver price. So I was really happy about that. So my overall plan on the day, right? I had a range between 43,209, which was the PM session high, 43,209 to 43,150, right? That's our PM session high. The PM session low was 42,970 through 42,886. You guys know my rules inside of these ranges. I look to short the highs, long the lows, and break and retest off the highs and lows. So I'd be looking for a break and retest. And you can see like none of my, this is why I love the chessboard so much, is because looking at this briefly, I didn't even realize this, but none of my higher time frame levels until the end of the day where we hit 4 hour support, none of these higher time frame supplier demands even came into play, but there was really good price action to be had inside of this area right here, right? You just had to, for me, I needed to have a detailed plan. So I was looking at short weak rallies into the in wall, but once price got above it, I went to go long into PM session. Okay, that was my thesis. To the downside, I was looking for the market to tap into demand at 42,519 through 276. We never really got down there, but we did tap into our 4 hour support at 42,719, which is like, if you look at my pictures, I always draw all of my support levels. Every level that I have, you guys have the ability to look at it on the screenshot or whatever. So my out-of-pocket bullish plan never triggered because we never could get back above the PM session. Same thing for my bearish plan down here, but the bearish plan, I believe, gave us an opportunity off the in-wall. We'll check that when we go down to the lower time frame. So all in all, I would say that the pre-market plan did its job, right? Put me in the right areas to get ready to trade. I traded successfully, and I'm not really upset that I walked away from this market at all. All right, so London did bring the low, but it brought the low inside of a downtrend, which means that this necessarily doesn't need to be the low of the day, right? A lot of times New York session will reverse everything that the Tokyo and London session did. And if you look, that's exactly what happened. London wanted to go up. New York said absolutely not, right? And then we kind of flipped London on its head, right? So, but you can see right at our bottom of the PM session range after sweeping London, we still got an opportunity to go long for about 200 points per candle, right? Like you could have longed this 246 800, right? This is like 800 points just sitting right here for the taking. And then still the market refused to get back above the end wall, failed, and then finally broke the trend line and then came back up for the retest at 115, which now our PM session low from the day before now becomes part of our PM session high on today's price action. That's why I love using the chessboard again, because it kind of allows me to see the pattern that price follows literally every day. It's so funny. But anyway, so we trade down all the way to the end of the day and we pop right into that 4-hour support. Let's get a little bit closer to price so we can see how time played a factor inside of the market, right? Like we do the review, or we trade the market with our 3 W's, win, where, and why. When we come back and do the review, we want to look at those wins, those wheres, and those whys, right? So if we look right here, we traded up into 929.30. Like I told you guys before, if I wasn't in my long position, right, I should have been looking, I would have definitely been looking to short right here. Malik did it. Oh man, looking back on this, the market traded down and then swept the high. This is what I actually was looking for to happen over here. I just missed this because I was on the 5, but the market swept these highs, gave us that beautiful doji candle, right? Did all of that price action, that beautiful price action, then finally broke through structure here, right? It broke through the 930 candle and then rallied back up right into this level. I was watching this on the 5-minute, but if I would have watched this on a 1-minute, this would have been a very easy trade, right? But anyway, we traded up into 950, which is exactly what you want to see, right? Sell, right? And then the market just straight flushed right at 10 o'clock on the money, trading down into 950, 1010, but the candle's not really over until we get down here. The macro is not really over, but they did provide an opportunity to go long right here off the end wall, which again was part of my pre-market plan. And then once the market took this area, it gave the perfect short off the end wall, right? Like, yeah, this is probably a little quick scalp, but I mean, this quick scalp is from 43,010 down to 42,890. That's like 110 points. But if you don't like to get, you know, long or short above midnight, then you just go ahead and take this long right here, right? Wait till we come down here. We trade up into the macro, down into the 1050 macro, getting prepared for 1050 to take us back up, right? I actually took this trade because I just couldn't resist, right? I took this one up into the macro at 1110, and then the market traded back down and just played inside of the macros until finally pushing down after creating that same pattern we keep seeing, right? I want you to take a look at this pattern, right? Because the process that we're moving down inside of the 1-minute, right, is the exact same way that we're breaking down on the 4-hour, right? And I think I gave this analysis before, but I'm gonna show you guys again because sometimes you just need to keep seeing it. This is on the 1-minute. This is from 950 to 1145. Now let's zoom out to the 4-hour chart, right? And tell me this isn't the exact same pattern that the market is making on the higher time frame. This is what they mean when they say time or the price is fractal, right? It's all fractal. It's happening the same way on every time frame, right? Time is fractal, right? So if you look, if I take this same ink, we got this same setup on the 4-hour. Here's the left shoulder, right? Here's another left shoulder, and then boom, we pop up, take the high, right? And then we come back to those shoulders to retest, and now we're pushing down. That's the exact same thing you saw on the 1-minute, right? That just shows you that how fractal time is, right? Like you see the same thing, right? So let's go down to the 1-minute, back to that area, and you see it. It's the same thing. Literally the same way we left. The same way we're leaving on a higher time frame. Look for that same setup on the lower time frames, because that's probably how the market's going to leave the lower time frames, right? So then we trade down, again, dance around until we get to the next macro, trade down into that macro, push up to make the PM session high, and then down to make the PM session low, indicating that the market still wants to go lower, which wouldn't be a surprise looking at the daily and the weekly candle. All right, so that's the breakdown on YM. Like I said, I normally would go in further detail on the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, but I'll give you a brief look. They look exactly the same, right? Like there's no difference in delivery. There was just a difference in strength. And the NASDAQ definitely won the strength battle. The S&P and the NASDAQ came down much cleaner on the day than the Dow Jones. But I mean, hell, the Dow Jones been selling off for a month. So welcome to the party, right? So the NASDAQ, here you can see, same level, PM session high rejection right at the top. I mean, perfect. I chart them all, right? What the heck am I listening to in the background? I chart them all, right? Every day. I just only give you guys the plan for YM because I'm using that as my tracker, right? But if you guys ever want to know my levels, don't hesitate to ask inside the Discord. Because I mean, YM, we basically got the top of this thing, right? I didn't trade it, but I mean, the plan would have been to get short 806, period. Market touched that level and immediately dumped. I mean, I think this is the 500, 700 point day on the NASDAQ. 800 down to 280, 600 points down on the NASDAQ. That's an amazing day. Yeah, I didn't even know that until I just looked at it. 526 points, 2.41%. So, like I said, we got levels for all three of these. You just got to ask, right? So, that being said, I'll leave you with one other thought, which is the volatility index is doing exactly what I thought it would do, which is holding court at these lows. Every time I see the volatility index come down here, every time we've been down here, we defend it, right? If you look, we have the same exact pattern that we're seeing on the bearish side, right? We're starting to see it on the bullish side for the volatility index, which tells me the VIX is looking to take out these highs as the market gets prepared to take out those current lows, okay? So that's just my thesis being validated on an instrument that follows the strength of my thesis, okay? So if you guys ever want to go in more depth about it, you know what I mean, feel free to tap in. But in my opinion, you know, strap in. It's gonna be a long ride down if we start breaking these highs. All right, that's it. That's all I got for the market review. My name is T.Hobbs, and I will catch you guys on the next one, man. Peace.